Want your writing corrected? Welcome to Fast Track ESL's Writing Correction Series, where every week we will be reviewing sample writing written and submitted by you, with detailed feedback and advice to help you improve your performance. At the end of each week's video, a new topic will be provided for the new episode that'll be released the following week. All you have to do is email your writing to info@fasttrackesl.com and leave your name and country in the comments section of the video on YouTube. Yes, it's really that easy. Every week, one sample writing will be selected from among all the submissions, and we will review and correct it for our next episode. Just make sure you've subscribed to our channel, leave your name and country in the comments, and email us your writing. Who knows? Your writing may be reviewed in our next video, so stay tuned. All right, so welcome to episode 1, where we are going to be reviewing a sample writing that you sent in. So this is going to be a sample letter for this first episode. And let's begin by looking at the prompt. This letter, by the way, has been sent to us by Antonio from Mexico. Let's go. So the question says, you and your neighbors have been receiving a lot of junk mail. You spoke to the mailman about this problem, but were told to contact the regional post office. Write an email to the manager of the regional post office in about 50 to 200 words, and your email should do the following things. 1, you should state the problem you have with the unwanted junk mail. 2, you need to complain about the problem. And 3, you need to describe how you want the issue to be resolved. Okay, so let's take a look at the sample letter here. It seems like we have a nice structure to it. We have all the paragraphs that are needed. Seems like Antonio's done a good job at separating these functions, the different things that the question has asked him to do, and these appear in separate paragraphs. So that's great. Now let's dive into it. With the salutation, dear post office manager. So Antonio's tried to go with the post, the position that this person who's on the receiving end has. And that's a good idea, but if you really don't know what this person's position is, always try to look at what the question says. So the question says the manager of the regional post office. So you might want to say something like, dear regional post office manager, right? But if you don't know whether such a position exists, you could just make your life easier by saying, dear sir or madam. So that's a nice tip right there. If you don't know who you're writing to, just go with dear sir or madam. Some people go with something like to whom it may concern, but dear sir or madam does the trick pretty well. Okay, let's take a look at the opening. I'm writing in connection with the mail that me and my neighbors have been receiving. So that's a nice opening. It's like a subject line. It's telling me what the letter is about without really getting into too many details. So what can I do to make this even better? I would say it's a good idea to narrow it down. So I would either go with, I'm writing in connection with the junk mail that me and my neighbors have been receiving, or if you don't want to use junk mail, you could just say unwanted, right? So I'm writing in connection with the unwanted mail that me and my neighbors have been visiting. Okay, now we have this issue in English where, should it be me and my neighbors or should it be my neighbors and I? And they're both correct. I mean, you would hear someone say me and my neighbors all the time, right? But if you want to improve on it, and make it sound a little bit more formal and refined, especially in writing, instead of saying me and my neighbors, you could say my neighbors and I. So there. Let's read it one more time. I'm writing in connection with the unwanted mail that my neighbors and I have been receiving. Perfect opening. Okay, now in the background, my name is Antonio. I'm a resident of Bloor Street West Village. Okay, so nice introduction. And if you think about it, you need to introduce yourself because the person you're writing to doesn't know who you are. So it's very appropriate that Antonio has started by introducing himself. But we have two clauses. The first one is my name is Antonio, and the second one is I'm a resident of Bloor Street West Village. And you can't just put a comma between them. So you need some kind of linker, like and. My name is Antonio, and I am a resident of Bloor Street West Village. There is an issue that I feel must be brought to your attention. Now, I love this structure of bring to your attention. It's a nice collocation that I think can really boost the lexical score. Okay, lately, me and my neighbors usually find a lot of junk mail in our mailboxes. Okay, so first of all, when you say lately, you're defining a period. So it's a little awkward to say lately and then use usually find. So what, is it lately or is it usually? These two don't go together very well. So I'm going to get rid of usually. And lately, me and my neighbors, you could just say, again, my neighbors and I. Remember, I explained this before. So my neighbors and I. Okay, find. Is this something that's happening on a regular basis? If so, why lately? If this is something that's a habit or something that's been happening as like often, very commonly, then it doesn't make sense to use lately. So I think you should change this to lately, my neighbors and I have been perhaps receiving a lot of junk mail in our mailboxes. This has been the case for several months now. Okay, so look, the first aim was state the problem you have with the unwanted junk mail. And so this is great. We're basically saying there is a problem, and then we're getting into it. However, perhaps Antonio could have added maybe one sentence to this just to show the examiner that this is being explained in sufficient detail, because when it says state the problem, you're just saying that you're receiving unwanted mail. You might want to expand on this and say how this is bothering you. So that's something to consider. Okay, I want to make some complaints about the situation. Okay, so this is the second aim, right? Complain about the problem. But think about it. Does it make sense to say I want to make some complaints about the situation? No, I don't think so. Can we come up with a better expression to express this complaint? Yeah, sure, there are certain structures. One of them, which I like, is I would like to express my dissatisfaction, right, with this situation. And when we say this situation, it's very clear that we are referring to the situation that was discussed in the previous paragraph. The fact that my personal mail is now infected with junk mail makes it harder for me to keep track of my important paperwork. Okay, so airing your frustration and explaining why this is a problem can be it's appropriate to broach this in your function paragraph. But remember, the fact that my personal mail is now infected. Now, can we use infected for junk mail? No, I don't think we would use infected. So perhaps we could say the fact that my personal mail is now, we could say, my inbox is filled with junk mail makes it harder for me to keep track of my mailbox, right? So the fact that my mailbox is now filled, okay, maybe we could say that. So the fact that my inbox is now filled with junk mail makes it harder for me to keep track of my important paperwork. I like it. I think that's nicely written now. Furthermore, the junk mail also causes my mailbox to be so full that sometimes my packages cannot fit in the mailbox. Okay, that's a valid complaint, I'd say. But just in terms of the way it's said. So you see, sometimes when you're writing a letter, you shouldn't just focus on communicating the idea, but rather you should also think about what is the most natural way? How would English speakers communicate that same idea? What words, phrases, or expressions would they use? That's something that you really gotta think about. So the junk mail also causes my mailbox to be full. So what can we say instead of causes my mailbox to be so full? So maybe we could say the junk mail also fills up my mailbox, okay? And then that sometimes my packages cannot fit in the mailbox. So we could add perhaps an adverbial to the end, right? So also fills up my mailbox, preventing new mail from fitting in there, or something like that. Now, what I want to teach you here is how I'm trying to add to the grammatical complexity by using an adverbial. You see, my main verb is fills up my mailbox, and then I'm using an adverbial, preventing new mail from fitting in there, right? That's a nice adverbial, and this creates grammatical complexity, guys. If you don't know how to use this structure where you have a main sentence followed by an adverbial and ing, I recommend that you definitely check it out. Okay, next paragraph. I already talked to my mailman, but he insisted that I send you a letter. Okay, now let's take a look at the question again. It says, describe how you want the issue to be solved. And here we have a little bit of detail. Does this belong in this paragraph? It could belong in this paragraph, but if you think about it, you want to start your paragraph with, jump straight to it. If the third function paragraph is supposed to describe how you want the issue to be solved, don't beat around the bush. Just jump straight to that aim. So if I were in Antonio's shoes, I would begin my paragraph with something like, allow me to suggest how this problem can be resolved. So allow me to suggest, I don't know, depending on how many suggestions are going to be given. So allow me to suggest some ways in which this issue can be resolved. Okay? Now, by reading this sentence, the examiner knows what exactly I'm going to do in this paragraph. So I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to jump straight to the suggestions. Perhaps the post office can go through all the mail before putting them out for delivery. Do they put them out for delivery? No, before maybe sending them out for delivery. Any mail that has no specific recipient or appears to be junk mail should be left out. This way, okay, so you need a comma here because you see this way, comma, it will save the residents in our neighborhood from the junk mail problem. Okay, now we have a little bit of a redundancy in our neighborhood. Do we need that? No, I think by this point, readers know when we say the residents, who we're referring to. So this way, it will save residents, okay, from the junk mail problem. So instead of saying save the residents from, just say it would solve, right? This way, it will solve the residents' problem. And notice that the apostrophe is after S because I'm referring to all of the residents, not just one. So it would solve the residents' problem with unwanted mail. Okay? So that's a little bit better. So at least it's shorter, right? Instead of saying from the junk mail problem. So there you go. Okay, so as you can see, Antonio's done a great job of separating these three and putting each one in a separate paragraph. So good job, Antonio. And then we have the closing. I hope you find this information useful, which is not the best closing because your point is not to just give information. You're complaining about something, right? So instead of saying, I hope you find this information useful, you gotta say something that's appropriate to the content and especially the main aim of your writing. In this case, I would say something like, I hope this matter will be dealt with soon, right? So I hope this matter will be dealt with soon, or I hope this matter receives your immediate attention, or something like that. And then sincerely, Antonio. All right, okay. This was a very good piece of writing. As always, I've tried to include as many comments as I possibly can. And hopefully you can learn a few things from this feedback that I've provided. Now remember, guys, you can send in your own writing to be reviewed in the next episode. We're going to do one of these every week. And the way you're going to do this is I'm going to show you the prompt for next time, and you will write your text and email it to me. All you got to do is also mention your name and the country that you come from in the comments on our YouTube channel. And obviously, you're going to email your writing to info@fasttrackesl.com, and we'll pick one writing for our next episode. So let's take a look at the question for next time. The question says, you want to sell an old computer. You think a friend of yours would be interested in buying it. Write a letter to your friend and do 3 things. 1, explain why you're selling the computer. 2, describe its features. And 3, suggest a time when your friend can come and see it. So that is the question that we're going to be using for our next episode. You can feel free to pause this video and watch and take it down or take a screenshot, and make sure that you follow the instructions that I provided for submitting your writing in. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next one and maybe reading your writing. Good luck.